Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Look at these absolutely amazing cupcakes. Look at this, it's absolutely beautiful. For the white around the edge, I've done 2 rows all the way around the blanket when I finished it. To do the bottom of the cupcake, I used this paint box Simply Aran white. Now this is a 4-weight, I think, in the USA. It doesn't actually say, oh yes it does, it's a 4-weight on this. To do the fondant icing, I used chunky yarn, any kind of chunky yarn. This one is a paint box. That one is a Stylecraft baby chunky. It's the same thickness, and look at those beautiful pastel colours. I didn't have a lemon in this paint box chunky, that's why I used that one, but it still worked. You can still see it there. Now a chunky weight is a 5. If you're in the USA, the weight of this is a 5. And I got this on, this paint box is Lovecraft's own brand, and they do ship abroad, and when you click on it, it'll ask you if you're in the USA or the UK or what country that you're in. So you can get this yarn, and it's such beautiful pastel shades. I've used a beautiful baby blue, a lilac. These have just got numbers on them. The blue one is 331, if you need to know. The lilac is 342. I can't remember what the pink is because I don't have the label for the pink. This one is the ballerina pink. It's a beautiful peachy pink colour. It's beautiful. The number for this one is 352. The white is 200. The number is 200 for the white. And you'll have to look for the baby lemon. I don't have any lemon of the baby lemon in the chunky left of the paint box. So I used this Stylecraft Babies Chunky. And it's called Baby Lemon, and the number is 1233. But I'm sure if they've got a baby lemon, they'll have all these other pastel shades. You just need nice fondant icing looking colours of yarn, and you're going to get this. It is absolutely beautiful. Now I started it with a row of treble crochets along the bottom. I finished my blanket with 2 rows all the way around. I'll show you that at the end. So I'm going to show you how to do this beautiful cupcake blanket. So I'm not going to show you how to do all the colours of that blanket. When you do the fondant icing, just change the yarn to the colour you want. You can do them all the one colour. You could do them all just with the white and blue. You can even do the base of the cupcake a different colour if you want, and then do different coloured fondant icing on the top. So for the first part, we're going to do the bottom. I'm using a UK 5.5 crochet hook, so it's a little smaller than it's telling you. It tells you to use a 6 for this, and it tells you to use a 6.5 or a 7 for that. So I'm going to use this 5. If I can find the end of my yarn, I'll pop that there. Now the stitch count for this is 4. So you're going to do chains and sets of 4. Don't worry if you don't keep count of your stitches. You can always just pick the extra stitches out at the end. So for this, we're going to do in sets of 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got my foundation chain done. So what you're going to do is you're going to add an extra 2 stitches, 1 and 2. Now into the 4th stitch into the 4th stitch in your chain, you're going to put a treble crochet, a UK treble crochet. So we're going to put 1 treble crochet into each stitch along the bottom. One treble crochet. If you're in the USA, these are double crochets. 1 into each stitch. So I put 1 treble crochet into each of the stitches. Now I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. That becomes 1 treble crochet and 1 chain space. So you're going to skip that very first stitch and that second one. Now into this 3rd stitch from the end, so count 1, 2 and 3. You're going to put 4 UK treble crochets into that same stitch. If you're in the USA, these are double crochets. So you're going to put 4 into the same stitch. So if you're in the UK, they're treble crochets. So that's 1, 2 into the same stitch, 3 and 4. Now you can use double knitting for this, for the whole blanket if you want to, but I think it looks nicer when it's done in a chunkier yarn. So you're going to skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and do that cluster again, 4 UK treble crochets into the same stitch. 1, 2, yarn over and in the space, that's 3, and 1 more makes 4. This is going to make the base of your cupcakes. That's going to make the base. Skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and then do that cluster. 1, 2, 3, do your cluster of 4 UK treble crochets. 1, 2, 3 and 4, all into the same stitch all the way along. Skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and then do your cluster. 1, 2, 3 and 4, all the way along. So at the end you're going to chain 1, and into your last stitch you're going to put a treble crochet into the last stitch. Now what you're going to do is you're going to cut your yarn, just cut your yarn and pull it through that stitch, and this is what you have. You've got 1 on the end and 1, your little, remember we had a chain of 4 here, that's 1 treble crochet and 1 chain. Now you're going to your next colour. I'm going to do blue. You can do these any colour at all for your icing part. So I'm going to go into the 3rd stitch in my chain I've got here, into the 3rd stitch, and I've got my next colour of yarn. So remember, for the icing I'm using a chunky yarn to do the icing, and I'm using an Aran yarn to do the white actual cupcake part. So I'm just going to pull my yarn through this stitch, wrap that over. Now we're going to chain 5. Every time you do the icing part you're going to chain 5 to begin, because you don't want your blanket to go in the way when you start doing your icing. So I'm going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. That's going to be a treble crochet and 2 chain. Now you can stitch your ends in as you're going along, or you can just keep it until you finish the blanket and stitch them all in. Now into the next stitch of this cluster, you're going to do a UK treble crochet. So push your yarn through and pull through, yarn over and come through 2 loops. Now keep that stitch on your hook. Into the next stitch, do the same. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over and through 2 loops, and keep that there. And pull through. Now we're using a chunkier yarn to do the icing. You don't have to, you can do it all the one type of yarn. I just thought it looked a lot nicer because it had the chunky yarn in it to do that nice, make it look like it's got nice thick icing on. So yarn over and pull through your 2 loops. So you should have 5 loops on your hook. You're going to put your yarn over and come through 4 of those loops. If you can't get through all of them at once, just come through a couple at a time. So keep 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over and come through those 2 loops. So now you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. That's going to take you over to the next bundle. We're going to do that little icing part again. So yarn over and into the stitch and pull through. Yarn over and through those 2 loops. Keep that one on your hook. Yarn over and do the next one. And keep that one on the hook. Now in the UK these are called treble crochets. In the USA they call them a double crochet. It's the same stitch. And pull through. Yarn over into my last stitch. Make sure I catch the top of that stitch. Yarn over and through 2 loops. So you're left with, you've got 5 loops on your hook. 4 belong to your stitches and the other one belongs to that chain. So yarn over and come through 4 of the loops. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Yarn over and come through 2 of those loops. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. That chain gives you the space to put your next cupcake. You got your next cupcake will sit in here. It staggers across. So we're going to do the same again to this cluster. Yarn over again through 2 loops. Keep it on the hook. This is how you do the icing. And all you're going to do is you're going to repeat these 2 rows until your blanket's as big as you need it. Make sure you catch the top of that stitch. So yarn over and through 4 loops. Keep 2 on your hook. Yarn over and through 2. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. You'll do that all the way to the end and it's going to make the icing on the top of your little cupcakes. So I'm on my last cupcake. I'm going to do my chain of 3. Don't do your chain too tight. If you do it too tight, your little blanket will go in like this and you don't want it to go in like that. 1, 2 and 3. So I'm going to do my last set of cupcakes. That's 1 stitch. Keep it on the hook. My second one, keep it on the hook. My third one, keep that on the hook. And my 4th one, keep that on the hook. Yarn over through 4, yarn over and through. So at the end here you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and you're going to do a treble crochet into the top of that chain that's here. Just catch your stitch of that treble crochet, trying to catch 2 strands of the top of that chain. There we go. And do your treble crochet on the end there. We're going to cut my yarn. Make sure you leave enough to sew in the end and pull that through. Now this was a chain of 5. We're going to go into the 1, 2, 3rd stitch in this chain, and we're going to get our next, and we're going to go back to the white. We're going back to the white yarn. So just pull that through, leave enough of a tail to sew in, pull that through, twist that over. I'm going to chain my 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now down here we only done a chain of, I think it was 4, but here we're going to go across to this chain space. And into the chain space you're going to put your 4 treble crochets. That's 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now once we do the next row we'll be joining here and you won't see that so much. This is just to keep your edge from going in the way, just to keep the side of your blanket nice and straight. We will put some treble crochets up here once we're finished. Now move to the next one. So move to the next space and do your 4 treble crochets all the way along. 4 treble crochets into each chain space. Now once you've done the last one in between here, you're not going to put one in there. Don't put one in there. If you do, your blanket's going to go out. We're staggering each set of cakes. So you've got a space here. So what you're going to do is, so over here, this is at the end. I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, and into the top of that last treble crochet I'm going to do, oops, yarn over, a treble crochet into the end there. I'm going to cut my yarn and pull that through. Make sure you've left yourself enough to sew in. So these ends will get stitched. These ends will get stitched in. And this is what it looks like. So we're staggering our little cakes in between here. And once we do the next cakes, they'll come out again to here. So what you're going to do next is get your next colour of yarn. I'm going to use lemon. I'm going to use the lemon next. And this is a chunky yarn again. I'm going to go into the 3rd stitch, 1, 2, 3, into that 3rd stitch and pull my yarn through. Just wrap that end over and I'm going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Pull that in. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do this row again. These are the 2 rows that you'll keep repeating. So wrap your yarn around your hook again and we're going into this 1st stitch here and pull through. Yarn over and through. Keep it on the hook. You've got 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over and into the next stitch. We should have 4. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. 1. Into the next one. That's 2. Yarn over into the next one. That's 3. And yarn over and into the next one. That's 4. Yarn over and come through 4 loops. Yarn over and through those 2 loops. and chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and you're going to do the same to the next 4 stitches all the way along. You're going to make the top of your little cupcakes, the little icing part, and these are the 2 rows you'll keep repeating. So you've got 5 loops on your hook, yarn over and come through 4 loops, yarn over and through those 2, and chain 1, 2 and 3, and do your next cluster. So I've done this row. I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, and I'm going to do a treble crochet into the top of this one. Don't worry about your ends, you're going to sew those in. Do your treble crochet, and that is your little cupcake. Now we're going to do our next ones into this space. We're going to include it in this space. So we're going to stagger back out like we've done with this one. You can see that we've staggered out with this one. Don't worry about your chains looking a little offset. They will be fine once we've got that next cupcake in there. It'll be fine. And then when we do our treble crochets, where you've done the chain always looks a little messier on this side than it does here on this side. So don't worry too much about it. It'll straighten out once you've got your edge on, and you'll just see your little cupcakes. So again, I'm going to cut my yarn and just pull that through the stitch. So into the 3rd stitch, 1, 2, 3, into the 3rd stitch, we're going to get the white again. So we're going back to the white to do this part here. And these are the rows you'll just keep repeating. And remember that your little cupcakes get staggered. So when you're going to put your cupcake in this one, you're only going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. All the rest get a chain of 5. But when you're staggering back out here, you only need to do 4. So into this chain space, you're going to do your 4 treble crochets. 1, 2, 3 and 4. See, I told you it's going to straighten that edge up. It's pulled it all out. Once we've done our treble crochets up the side, that'll be fine. So over into the next chain space, you're going to do your 4 treble crochets. 1, 2, 3 and 4. And there we go, it's pulled it all back out into the right position. So just remember, when you're doing the one here, when your cupcakes on this side, you're doing 4. In between you're doing 5s. And then when your cupcake staggers back out here, you're doing 4 chain. And then we'll go back to doing the 5s. So it's 3 5s and a 4, 3 5s and a 4, if you know what I mean, because it takes 1, 2, 3 rows to get back up to this position here where this cupcake is. So this cupcake should be in line with this one, these two. Your next cupcake will stagger into the middle again. So I'm on my last one, so remember you're going to put one in here so it staggers off to the side of this one. So I'm going to put my 4 treble crochets into this last chain space. 3, I've got a little knot in my yarn here. There we go. 3 and 4. Now this time you're only going to chain 1, because remember we only done 4 at this end. That's your treble crochet and a chain 1. So we're chaining 1 here, and we're going to treble crochet into the top of this one. Oops. And we're going to sew all our ends in as well. So again, cut your yarn and just pull it through. And that's you got that, and look at that, it's moved it all back out. Remember I just said that don't worry about if it goes slightly in, this one is going to move it back out. And once we neaten up our edges and we put our treble crochets down the side, that'll be even better. So we're going to do the top icing part of these ones, and then what you'll do is you'll go back to these 2 rows. You'll just keep putting the video back and watching it again, because the next time we're going to stagger in, so it'll be these 2 rows you'll follow next. So I'll pick a colour for the top of this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going into the 3rd stitch. Remember we did 4 here, so I'm going into the 3rd stitch, 1, 2, 3, pull my yarn through. Starting to rain outside, so it's starting. So we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're back to our chain 5. So the next 4 stitches you're going to do your little cupcake thing again, the little icing one. Keep it on the hook, that's 1. Keep that one on the hook, that's 2, 3, 3 and 4. Now we're going to yarn over and come through 4 of those loops, yarn over and through the other 2, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then do the icing on the next one, just like you did down here. So you'll do that all the way along, and these are the rows you'll keep repeating. So just rewind the video. 1, 2, 3, I've got one more. Rewind the video and follow along. But just remember, you've got your 1, 2 rows here, then you've got 1, 2 rows here, and then you'll stagger your little cake out the way. So this one sits out here, and then just remember that you stagger that one out. Your next cupcake's going to fit in above this one, so your cupcakes are staggering out and in. And once we've done our treble crochet row down the side, it's really going to neaten all of that up. I'll show you that once we've done this row. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to work along all these little clusters, making my icing on the top of my cupcake. So you can see these cakes staggering in and out like this. So on the end with this one, I'm just going to chain 1, and then we're going to do a treble crochet into the top here. And that is the only difference with these little lines of cupcakes. Oops. When you've done that staggered one, it's only a chain of 4, and you're only chaining 1 here. On these ones where it staggers in, you're doing a chain of 5, and you're chaining 2 when you come across. So just rewind the video. So I'm going to snip that one off, and what I'm going to do now is, your next row you would chain 5. Your next row you would chain 5 with your white and do your cupcake base in here. You'll go in between these 2. So just remember you're staggering in and out like this. In and out, and then in, then out, and in and out. And don't worry about the edge. I'm going to show you how to neaten all that up. I'm going to sew my ends in you'll continue with the pattern until your cupcakes, you've got as many as you want. Now I'm going to sew all my ends in, and I'll come back and show you how to neaten up the edge. So this is my little cupcake sample done. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you how to just neaten off all the edges. I'm going to get my white back, get my white, and what I'm going to do is, now my edges did turn out quite nice and neat once I sewed all those in, but that'll neaten up even more once we've done all around the blanket. I'm not going to go down the bottom. I'm not going to do a row down the bottom. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it onto its side here. And what we're going to do is, into this space here, I'm going to pull my white yarn through. Just pull my white yarn through here. And I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now into that chain space I'm going to put another treble crochet. Into these chain spaces I'm going to put 2 treble crochets. We'll have a look and see what 2 is like. So into the bundle that's there, I'm going to put a treble crochet. Just push your hook through. Remember, some of this yarn is thicker than the other. Then into the chain space I'm going to put 2 treble crochets. 1 and 2. It's a little darker now because it's absolutely pouring with rain. Now into that bundle and pull out. That little bendy light that I've got is absolutely brilliant. It's just casting a really nice light in here. 2 into there. And 2 into here. 1 into the bundle. Now we've got a little bundle here. Work out where your chain is. That one there's your chain. So I'm going into that bundle. Just in through that bundle. And that's my chain space. That's there. That's the chain up the side. 1 and 2. So I'm at the corner. I'm going to put 3 treble crochets, 2 chain and 3 treble crochets into this corner. That's 1, 2 and 3. Chain 2, 1, whoops, and 2, and put 3 into this corner. 1, 2 and 3. And that's going to give me a nice sort of squarish corner. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put 1 into the top of this little icing part of the cake. 3 into the chain space. 1, 2 and 3. 1 into the top of the icing, just into that little peak that's there, and then 3 into the chain space, and I'll work my way along. One into the top of the icing there, and 3 into the chain space. 1, 2 and 3. And that gives you a nice edge on your blanket. You'll do that all the way along to this end. When you get to here, you'll put 3 treble crochet, 2 chain and 3 treble crochet. So on my little sample, I've done my corner and I've worked along to here. I've put 3 treble crochets into the corner. I'm going to chain 2 and then put another 3 into that same corner. 2 and 3, and work my way down the side. So 1 into the cluster and 2 into the chain space, into the spaces where the chains were. 1 into this cluster and 2 into the chain space. 1 and 2. 1 into the cluster. We should have the same amount of stitches going down the side, each side. So 1 in there, squidge it in, and 2 into the chain space. 1 and 2. And 1 into this cluster here. It's actually the line, it's not so much a cluster. It's the end of the line. Just get that out of there. And 2 into there. 2 in the chain spaces. 1 into that cluster. And 2 into this space here. And 2. Now I'm right at this corner down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just the 1 into this space, because remember this is just your treble crochets on the end. I'm going to do, and then I'm going to slip stitch into this corner. Just slip stitch in, and it'll give you what looks like a corner down here. Cut my yarn, pull my stitch through, and that makes it look like a corner on there. And once I've stitched this on, that'll be your corner that's there. And there is your little blanket, and your edges I've neatened up really nice as well, and now you can see that cake staggering in. So remember, when you're doing this, if you decide to do it, don't worry about your chains that are going up the side if they look a little wonky, because once you've done your edging, it will make it all nice and neat like this. I'll get my larger blanket back, and this is the larger blanket. This is what it looks like on this side. So it does kind of have a right and a wrong side, unless you actually want your little cupcakes to look sticking out in this side, and they'll look a little flatter on that side. I need to get myself a drink of coffee. I've got quite a dry throat today. And that is how you do this little cupcake blanket. Just rewind the video back to the beginning and remember the stagger in your little cupcakes. Remember that it staggers. That's the back of it. Just remember that it staggers out and then in and then out again. Once you've done this row, you can go all the way around and do more rows. When you get to the corners, put your 3 treble crochets, 2 chain and 3 treble crochets in. Or you can try it with 2, it's up to you. It depends on what your tension's like. It's great for a scrap blanket. It's a great way to use up all the scraps of yarn that you have. So thank you very much for watching. Please click on that subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed already, click on the subscribe button. It's a very easy process on how to subscribe. It doesn't cost you any money to subscribe either. And if you click on the bell icon, YouTube will tell you when I put up another tutorial. So until the next time, happy crafting. Give this little cupcake a try. Do you know what? It'd be really pretty over the top of a cushion. If you've got a cushion like you already have, maybe like a white cushion or a pillow, you could make a square and then just sew it. Once you've got it made to the size that you want, put it over the top of your pillow and then just sew around the edge, and it'll be like a little pillow. It's really pretty. So until the next time, happy crafting, and I'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.